Respect isn't something you beg for or tirelessly chase. It's something you command by the way you carry yourself. Yet most people unknowingly sabotage their own respect by clinging to habits that scream weakness and insecurity. What if I told you that no matter how hard you try, you will never be truly respected until you stop doing certain things? Today, we'll expose 7 destructive habits that quietly destroy your respect and show you how Stoic philosophy offers a powerful path to reclaiming your inner strength and commanding the respect you deserve. If you're ready to stop being overlooked and start standing tall, this is the wake-up call you've been waiting for. Habit 1. Laughing when you're not amused. On the surface, laughing at a joke or situation, even when it doesn't truly amuse you, may seem like a simple act of politeness or social lubrication. But beneath that seemingly harmless behavior lies a profound weakness that undermines your respect and authority in the eyes of others. From a Stoic standpoint, this habit is not merely a social faux pas. It's a clear sign that you've lost control over your most important domain, your own mind. The Stoics taught that the foundation of a good life is living in harmony with nature, which for human beings means living rationally and virtuously. This begins with self-mastery, the ability to govern your thoughts, emotions, and actions according to reason rather than impulse or external pressure. When you laugh at something you're not genuinely amused by, you surrender that mastery. You let the external world and the judgments of others dictate your internal state, effectively becoming a vessel for their expectations instead of an independent agent of your own will. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations that the wise person does not behave like one who is dragged about by every wave, but like a rock standing firm in the midst of the raging sea. The rock is unshaken because it is grounded in its nature and purpose. By contrast, laughing when you don't feel like it is like giving into the crashing waves, allowing transient social discomfort or the fear of being judged to override your internal stability. Moreover, Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, emphasized the importance of distinguishing between what is in our control and what is not. Our opinions, desires, and impulses are within our power. Other people's judgments and behaviors are not. Laughing falsely is a failure to hold fast to what we control, our own authentic response. And instead, we try to manipulate the uncontrollable external world by appearing agreeable or likable. This not only dilutes your authenticity, but also trains your mind to rely on external validation, which is inherently unstable and fleeting. The psychological cost of this habit is significant. When you pretend to laugh, you create a subtle but persistent dissonance between your internal experience and your external expression. This dissonance breeds insecurity and self-doubt because you are constantly reminding yourself that your outward behavior is not aligned with your inner truth. Over time, this undermines your self-respect, and self-respect is the very foundation on which respect from others is built. Stoicism teaches us to embrace emotional clarity and honesty. It's better to maintain a calm, neutral expression than to offer a forced laugh. Silence or a composed reaction in moments when you are not genuinely amused conveys far more strength than pretending to enjoy something. It signals that you are firmly rooted in your own judgments and that you will not bend simply to appease others. By eliminating this habit, you not only strengthen your relationship with yourself, but you also recalibrate how others perceive you. People naturally gravitate toward those who are authentic and consistent. You become someone who inspires respect through your calm, measured presence. Someone who is seen as trustworthy because your words and actions align with your true feelings. In practical terms, this habit is a gateway to a larger transformation. Once you stop laughing at things that don't resonate with you, you begin to reclaim your emotional sovereignty. This empowers you to face social situations with confidence rather than anxiety, to stand firm in your principles rather than seek approval, and ultimately to live a life defined not by the fleeting judgments of others, but by your own reasoned values. In the Stoic worldview, This is the essence of living with virtue, being true to yourself, mastering your passions, and projecting an unshakable dignity that naturally demands respect. Habitu 101 over-apologizing. Apologizing is a virtue when it reflects genuine accountability and a commitment to repair what was harmed. Yet many fall into the pitfall of over-apologizing, apologizing for things that don't require it, for perceived offenses that are not truly their fault, or simply out of a need to avoid discomfort. This habit, though seemingly humble or polite, is a clear sign of weakness and insecurity that directly undermines your self-respect, and consequently, the respect others afford you. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from discerning what is within your control, your intentions, choices, and moral character, and what is not, the opinions, judgments, and reactions of others. When you over-apologize, you place excessive value on the uncontrollable external world, bending your will to fit what you imagine others expect or desire. This excessive seeking of approval is a form of external dependency that conflicts with the Stoic ideal of inner freedom. Epictetus famously said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." Now, dilutes. Over-apologizing often comes from frustration or fear that things are not going as you wish. Fear of displeasing others, fear of conflict, fear of being perceived as wrong or bad. But the Stoics teach that your primary concern should be your own virtue and rational judgment, not the fluctuating moods or judgments of others. Moreover, when you habitually apologize without true cause, you inadvertently communicate to others that you are uncertain of your own decisions, hesitant in your convictions, and lacking in confidence. This habit effectively lowers your social standing and trains people to view you as submissive or unsure. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you apologize unnecessarily, the more you feel insecure, and the less others respect your presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Over-apologizing is a vivid example of this paradox. You undermine yourself by elevating the opinions of others above your own reasoned judgment and self-worth. Stoicism calls for a life of courage and integrity, where you accept responsibility sincerely and firmly when it is due, but also stand your ground when you are right or when no offense has been committed. Saying sorry is a powerful tool, but only when wielded with wisdom. Otherwise, it loses meaning and dilutes your authority. By breaking the habit of over-apologizing, you reclaim your voice and agency. You learn to set clear boundaries and communicate with calm assurance. This shift teaches others to treat you with greater respect because they see you respect yourself. You stop shrinking to fit others' expectations and begin to occupy your space with dignity. In essence, removing the habit of over-apologizing is a profound Stoic practice. It's about aligning your external behavior with your internal virtue, mastering your impulses, and cultivating self-respect that is independent of external validation. This is how you build a presence that commands respect, not through empty words of apology, but through the quiet power of unwavering self-governance. Habit 3. Chasing comfort. In today's world, the pursuit of comfort is often mistaken for the pursuit of happiness. We seek easy paths, avoid discomfort, and craft lives designed to shield us from hardship. But from the Stoic perspective, chasing comfort above all else is one of the fastest ways to undermine your strength, your clarity, and ultimately your respect. The Stoics teach that true virtue, and therefore true power, arises from enduring hardship with courage and reason. Seneca famously said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." When you constantly chase comfort, you avoid the very challenges that refine your character. This avoidance signals to others and to yourself that you are soft, predictable, and unwilling to stretch beyond your current limits. Comfort in Stoic philosophy is often a form of passion, an attachment to external things that are not in your control and that do not guarantee genuine fulfillment. By prioritizing comfort, you become a slave to external conditions and lose your freedom to respond with virtue in any situation. You train yourself to seek the easiest route, to avoid necessary discomfort, and ultimately to shrink from life's demands. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Sorry, avoiding discomfort deprives you of this transformative friction. It means you are not embracing life as it is, but instead trying to bend it to your desires. This is a fundamental error according to Stoicism. The goal is not to chase fleeting pleasures, but to cultivate resilience and wisdom by facing adversity head-on. When others observe your constant search for comfort, they see a person who lacks grit and determination, someone who will likely falter when tested. This perception weakens your influence and reduces respect because respect follows those who demonstrate strength in adversity. Moreover, the habit of chasing comfort dulls your mind and spirit. Without challenges, your growth stagnates. The Stoics teach that life's hardships are opportunities to practice virtue, patience, courage, temperance, and wisdom. When you flee discomfort, you miss the chance to embody these qualities. By removing the habit of chasing comfort, you begin to build a mindset rooted in endurance, discipline, and acceptance. You cultivate a life where your peace is not contingent on comfort, but on your ability to meet whatever comes with equanimity. This mental toughness naturally commands respect because it radiates strength and stability. Ultimately, Stoicism calls us to live as warriors of the soul, ready to face life's difficulties without complaint or avoidance. Releasing the need for constant comfort frees you to become that person, someone whose presence alone inspires confidence and respect. Habit 4. Oversharing. In an age where personal boundaries often blur and privacy feels increasingly scarce, oversharing has become a common yet dangerous habit. From a Stoic perspective, oversharing is not simply about divulging information. It's a clear indication of insecurity and lack of self-control, both of which erode respect and personal power. The Stoics taught that wisdom begins with knowing yourself deeply and guarding your inner fortress. Epictetus emphasized that what is truly yours, your reasoned mind and virtuous character, must be protected from the distractions and judgments of the external world. When you share too much, you dilute this fortress, exposing your vulnerabilities unnecessarily and handing over control of your personal narrative to others. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to be like a person who is always watching himself. Soaring into oversharing signals of failure in this vigilance. It often stems from an unconscious desire to seek validation, to feel accepted, or to fill an inner emptiness with the approval of others. This behavior betrays a lack of emotional self-sufficiency, a core Stoic ideal. When you overshare, you reveal insecurities and uncertainties that diminish your stature and invite judgment or exploitation. The power of silence and discretion is profound in Stoic thought. By maintaining a boundary between your inner life and the outside world, you command respect and create space for reflection and growth. Oversharing not only wastes your mental energy, but also scatters your influence, making it difficult for others to see the strength and clarity beneath your words. Stoicism teaches that what you reveal should be purposeful, measured, and aligned with virtue. Your words should be like arrows, direct, intentional, and impactful, not a flood that erodes the walls of your character. The more you overshare, the less mysterious and compelling you become. You lose the aura of calm authority that comes from being self-contained and composed. And furthermore, oversharing can lead to emotional entanglement with others' opinions and reactions, pulling you away from inner tranquility. When your sense of self becomes dependent on external feedback, your peace is fragile. The Stoics counsel us to seek fulfillment from within, not from the shifting tides of social interaction. By removing the habit of oversharing, You strengthen your emotional armor and cultivate a presence that naturally draws respect. People instinctively trust and value those who are measured in their communication. Those who reveal just enough to connect, but not so much as to become vulnerable to manipulation or misunderstanding. In essence, embracing Stoic discretion and emotional sovereignty through mindful sharing is a powerful way to project strength, maintain your dignity, and ensure that your words serve your highest self, not your fears or insecurities. Habit 5. Laughing off disrespect. When someone disrespects you, the natural impulse might be to brush it off with a laugh, to avoid confrontation, or to keep the peace. But from a Stoic perspective, this habit of laughing off disrespect is a subtle form of self-betrayal that signals weakness and invites further disregard. The Stoics taught that our dignity and self-respect are our most precious possessions. Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." Similarly, being disrespected without response often means you have allowed your inner boundaries to be crossed unchecked. By laughing off disrespect, you signal that your personal boundaries are malleable and your sense of self is negotiable. Epictetus reminds us that it is not what happens to us, but how we respond that defines our character. When you laugh off disrespect, you fail to exercise the virtue of courage, which is essential for maintaining one's integrity. Instead of standing firm with calm assertiveness, you mask the slight with humor, often out of discomfort or fear of conflict. This avoidance erodes your presence and encourages others to test your limits repeatedly. Respect, according to Stoicism, is earned by consistent demonstration of virtue and clear boundaries, not by passive tolerance. Marcus Aurelius advised us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Laughing off disrespect is like being the wave rather than the cliff. It allows the disrespect to wash over you and diminish your stature. Moreover, laughter can sometimes be misunderstood as acceptance or agreement. When used as a defense mechanism to cover hurt or indignation, it signals to others that their behavior has no serious consequences. This trains people to treat you with less regard, knowing that you won't challenge their misbehavior. The Stoic path encourages emotional clarity and firm boundaries. Responding to disrespect doesn't mean retaliation or anger, but rather a composed and dignified assertion of your worth. A calm, clear, and direct response shows that you value yourself enough not to tolerate being undermined. By breaking the habit of laughing off disrespect, you reclaim your voice and command respect through presence and principle. You demonstrate that your self-respect is not negotiable and that you are a person who demands to be treated with dignity. This firm stance naturally deters future disrespect and fosters relationships based on mutual honor. In short, Stoicism teaches that respect begins with respecting yourself, and that includes not laughing away the things that chip away at your dignity. By embracing this mindset, you become the unmovable cliff that others recognize and respect. Habit 6. Waiting for permission. One of the quiet yet deeply damaging habits that erode respect and self-respect is waiting for permission. Seeking approval or validation before you take action, speak your truth, or pursue your goals. This habit signals indecision, self-doubt, and a reliance on others to grant you agency, which contradicts the Stoic ideal of living with personal sovereignty and rational autonomy. The Stoics taught that true freedom is found within, by mastering your own mind and judgments. Epictetus emphatically stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you wait for permission, you essentially place your power outside yourself, making your ability to act contingent upon someone else's consent. This external dependence undermines your freedom and stifles your capacity to live according to reason and virtue. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us to be indifferent to what makes no difference. Yet waiting for permission means you care deeply about others' opinions and approvals, elevating their judgments over your own reasoned will. This attachment fosters hesitation, procrastination, and a crippling fear of making mistakes. As a result, you send a message to others and yourself that you lack confidence, decisiveness, and strength of character. Stoicism holds that action rooted in reason and virtue is the essence of human excellence. By contrast, waiting for permission is a form of self-imposed limitation that keeps you trapped in inaction or half measures. It's the refusal to fully claim your role as an active participant in your own life. This habit diminishes your presence and makes it harder for others to respect your leadership or trust your judgment. Seneca's wisdom cuts deep here. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Similarly, the person who constantly craves permission is impoverished in spirit. They are poor not in resources, but in inner freedom, a freedom to choose, to act, to live boldly in accordance with reason. Breaking this habit requires cultivating courageous autonomy. This means learning to trust your own judgment, accepting the possibility of mistakes, and recognizing that external approval is not the foundation of your worth or success. It means acting decisively and responsibly based on your principles, even in the face of uncertainty or opposition. When you stop waiting for permission, you send a clear, powerful signal. You are a person who owns your decisions, embraces responsibility, and leads with integrity. This confidence commands respect naturally, because people are drawn to those who move with clarity and purpose, rather than hesitation and doubt. Practically speaking, embracing this Stoic virtue involves reflecting daily on what is truly within your control, your choices and actions, and focusing your energy there. It means practicing small acts of decision-making without seeking approval, gradually strengthening your resolve and independence. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of the prohairesis, the faculty of will and moral choice that defines human freedom. This internal sovereignty is the bedrock of respect, both self-respect and the respect you inspire in others. Ultimately, removing the habit of waiting for permission is about reclaiming your freedom as a rational, virtuous being, living fully in accordance with your values rather than the approval of others. This transformation is fundamental to cultivating a strong, respected, and authentic presence in the world. Habit 7. Tolerating low-standard friendships. Among the most subtle yet profoundly damaging habits that sap your respect and personal development is the tolerance of friendships that fall short of your values, vision, and standards. Stoicism teaches that the company you keep profoundly shapes your character, your mindset, and ultimately your destiny. To tolerate low-standard friendships is to compromise your own potential and weaken your foundation of self-respect. Seneca famously advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Totori, this is not just sound advice. It is a fundamental principle of living a virtuous life. Our social circles act as mirrors and molders of our behavior. They influence our habits, beliefs, and even emotional states. When you remain in the orbit of friends who lack ambition, discipline, or integrity, you tacitly accept their norms and values, which often promote complacency, excuses, and mediocrity. The Stoics held that human beings are rational and social creatures. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to choose someone who will make a better man of you. This is not a superficial preference, but a commitment to surrounding oneself with people who inspire growth, challenge weaknesses, and reinforce virtuous living. By contrast, tolerating low-standard friendships is akin to inviting erosion into your life, slowly chipping away at your resolve, clarity, and commitment to excellence. Beyond the influence on character, these friendships often bring unnecessary drama, negativity, or distractions that cloud your judgment and drain your emotional energy. They can foster a culture of complaint rather than action, blame rather than responsibility, and comfort rather than challenge. This atmosphere dulls your capacity for resilience and fortitude, two cardinal Stoic virtues essential for earning respect. Stoicism insists on personal responsibility and self-mastery. which includes being vigilant about your social environment. Epictetus teaches that we must exercise control over what is within our power, our choices, actions, and associations. Choosing to remain in toxic or stagnant relationships is a failure to exercise this control, which compromises your ability to live in accordance with reason and virtue. By breaking free from this habit and refusing to tolerate friendships that drag you down, you communicate a powerful truth. You honor your own growth, and you demand a social sphere that reflects and supports your highest self. This boundary is not about judgment or elitism, but about preserving your integrity and cultivating respect, both from within and from those around you. Furthermore, cultivating friendships with those who embody Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, creates a dynamic of mutual improvement. These relationships hold you accountable, push you beyond comfort zones, and provide honest feedback. Such alliances amplify your strengths and reinforce the principles you live by, setting a foundation for lasting respect and influence. In the words of Epictetus, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. The right friendships help you remain humble, curious, and open to growth. They keep you honest about your flaws and committed to your potential. Ultimately, tolerating low-standard friendships is a subtle form of self-sabotage. It diminishes your presence, clouds your judgment, and undermines your journey toward virtue. To cultivate respect from yourself and others, you must surround yourself with those who reflect your values and aspirations, pushing you to be better every day. This deliberate choice to elevate your social environment is a profound expression of Stoic wisdom and self-respect. It lays a strong foundation for personal excellence and the kind of respect that flows naturally from strength, clarity, and virtuous living. Respect is not something you chase, it's something you command, not through empty gestures or desperate efforts, but by embodying strength, clarity, and self-respect. The 7 habits we've uncovered today aren't just bad behaviors. They are signals of weakness that quietly undermine your presence and invite others to undervalue you. Stoicism teaches us that true respect begins from within. By mastering your emotions, standing firm in your values, and choosing your company wisely. Remember, it's not about becoming perfect, but about removing what holds you back, discarding the habits that dilute your power, and embracing the virtues that build it. When you do this, respect naturally follows because you are no longer a passive participant in life, but an active, decisive force guided by reason. So take a moment to reflect. Which of these habits are you still holding on to? And more importantly, what will you do today to start shedding them? Because your journey toward respect, like all Stoic practice, is about small, consistent steps toward greater wisdom and self-mastery. Live deliberately, act with courage, respect yourself, and watch how the world begins to respect you in return.